People, here we are for the Qatar Grand Prix. That's the first time I've said that. I think that's how you say that. Anyway, point is, how are we all doing today? Of course, I'm joined once again by Peter.
Hello, guys. Hello.
How are you feeling about this race? Of course, you got George on pole position, Harry on the front row again for a second time, Preston in P3, and Jamie in P4. Two Red Bulls, P3, P4 could be somewhat dangerous to Harry. How do you think this is going to go?
I mean, obviously, new track, new driving abilities. Well, not new abilities, but new driving models for these drivers. So hopefully, this can produce a somewhat interesting race. 29 laps of racing around this fabulous, twisty, and bendy circuit we have ahead of us.
Very true, very true. We shall see how it goes. It'll be a very interesting race. Of course, George does take the pole record here today, being the first time we're here. Obviously, a new track. He sets the record for pole position, so he'll be much happier now he's got that. Obviously, season 3, he was quite dominant with getting pole records back to back.
Before he was quite dominant, breaking the records. Me and George were out there breaking the records. We were, so yeah.
Very true.
Just break some more and better some of his own from last season. We will have to find them out in these upcoming races. But what a qualifying for Harry. Again, another front row start for this man. If we had Neo, it'd be interesting to see. So we're not really seeing what Harry's made of fully just yet, because we don't know where Neo's at, nor do we know where Charlie's at. So it could be interesting. That could maybe affect the order where Harry lies. But so far, Harry has got that advantage over those two so far, and starts again on the front row with Preston in P3, starting the second row with his teammate. So two Red Bulls on the second row of the grid, and then obviously George and Harry on the front row of the grid. As now the drivers are lining up for the first ever Qatar Grand Prix on this brand new game of F1 2023.
I hope with Jamie getting disqualified for saying glitch don't happen, but I shall leave it over to you.
In 2023, in Season 5 of the ROR, it's going to be lights out. And away we go. George has a brilliant start. So does Preston, though. What can Harry do? Preston up into P2 at the start. Harry hasn't had a good start. Into turn 1 we go now. Will Harry be able to challenge Preston? No, he will not. Jamie slightly running off wide there, but Preston gets in a jump on Harry. This is crucial for if Harry wants to fight for the win today. And this is Jamie now fighting with Harry for P3. Now that's the final grid slot. Going wheel to wheel, and Jamie gets a front of Harry. Harry's on those hard compound though, so I'm pretty sure he's running the hard compound. This is probably to why he's lost 2 grid slots to the Red Bulls already. But George running away with it now. Preston's already 1.2 seconds behind George, and George is steaming away already, leading this Qatar Grand Prix.
What?
Preston though, or he will have to do something with his pace, or maybe he might be conservative with his tyre wear. But Jamie, though, is right behind him, just less than half a second behind. Will Jamie be able to challenge Preston for this P2? This will be brilliant stuff for Jamie, and a great motivation boost for him as well to maybe kickstart his season off with a podium.
Very, very true. What a brilliant start by the Red Bulls, though. I did not expect both Red Bulls to get a jump start on Harry, but as you say, Harry is on those hard tyres. They will come into fruition further down the race, especially when the Red Bulls have to pit, but we will see how that goes. Of course, George just getting away now, already a 2-second gap come lap 2. What could this gap be by the time lap 10 comes around? It's just unpredictable. We'll have to see what happens now. But Harry managing to stay with Jamie. Jamie managing to stay with Preston. So we could be seeing a three-way battle going on here potentially.
Yeah, this will be a great battle and great entertainment for P2 and the final the final podium position as well. it'll be quite interesting to see if Harry can pull off this strategy call that he's made to go on the hards. But just remember, if he can stick just close enough with the Rebels and then even George, he could potentially set net P1 by the time George and the Rebels come to pit.
Very true. Whether he can hold on to that is another question, because of course he'll have to pit later on. Is he going to go? I reckon he's going to have to go for the softs. Really, I mean, I'll be interested to see what the others go for, because if they go on to softs after mediums, those softs will be very tested on the length of the length of the race, the amount of laps they got left. But Harry really may have just really done a mastermind plan here, going on the hards first, meaning that he'll have the fresher softs.
Yeah, I mean, if it'll be interesting to see how the strategy plays out. Obviously, it could go one of two ways. Harry could come on these hards and go to mediums, and then the drivers ahead of him can go to mediums to hards. But depends on how long you can make these tires last, and it depends on what the tire deck is like. I haven't really tested and seen what the tire deck is like round this track, but obviously it'll be more like Bahrain, so I'm sure it might eat out your rears, it might eat out your fronts, as it's very bendy. You don't get a chance to have like a break around this track. You're always turning, you always got a short run down to the next corner, and then you're turning and, you know, moving the steering wheel left to right constantly. So you're not really getting that break until about the main straight and a little bit of sector 1, when you have to take your first right-hander, the double right-hander, to end sector 1 off. But it can be quite interesting. Harry needs to either get past Jamie here of the use of DRS, or he needs to, back off a bit so he doesn't sit behind in this dirty air, because it will start to bite at his tyre wear. And he looks awfully close to Jamie right here. He's 2 tenths a tip. Would he go? He's going to go for a dive bomb there. Decides to back out because he knows it wasn't worth making the risk there for it. But he's going to take this DRS opportunity, locks up a bit there, which is going to lose him a fair bit of time now to Jamie. But Jamie's going to be a sitting duck in a straight, depending on what kind of step Harry's running here. Is it straight line? It definitely looks it to be so far. He goes front to the right, then to the left, duped Jamie, and now that is P3 for Harry. Next opponent, Preston is now, but Jamie, he's still trying to come back using those medium compound tires. He needs to push these mediums and use up the grip he has compared to Harry. He needs to use it up, because Harry's going to be quite slow to begin with these first like 7-8 laps of the race. So unless Jamie just does not have the pace, then ideally he could be losing out this P3 slot. But Jamie's seeming to stick with him though.
Very true, very true. This will be a very nice battle, but we'll be seeing probably maybe until one of them picks, really. If we go back in DFL history books, obviously before the rebrand, these guys have battled constantly throughout history books. They've had incident after incident, battle after battle. These two, I don't know if you agree, are basically rivals in this league, really, the amount they've gone at it.
I think as much as Harry probably would like to disagree about them being rivals, I mean, time and after again, those two have come together, had battles on track with each other. Oh, and Preston has spun. That is not good. He's lost the front wing end plate there. So that's him losing out P2, and he's now going to have to make a recovery drive. What looked to be good for the Red Bull driver of Preston has dropped down to P9. After that incident, he will have to pit now and make another pit stop and make these hards last now, as he's going to have damage, unless he can live with the damage and live it out until about his pit stop around lap 11, maybe lap 10 of this race. So it'd be interesting to see if Preston can come back after that mistake he's made. Normally you see George make those kind of silly mistakes that it shouldn't happen, but we're only human after all, and we can't help with those mistakes sometimes. And yeah, Preston will be livid with that. And after all that commotion, we've seen Jamie get to P2 and Harry P3. Jamie's repassed Harry.
I really think. I think you really can't agree. I think this battle will go on until one of the pits. They'll just keep overtaking each other until one of them has to pit. Obviously Jamie first, being on the mediums. Hopefully, touch wood, I'm literally tapping wood so much because I know commentators' curse is unbelievable. We've seen it before in this league. It's hopefully they have clean overtakes, but I think it will just happen time and time again.
Yeah, I definitely do agree. But Harry's going to come back again. Oh, and a bit of contact there between the two rivals right there. Jamie making that late-minute move. That might be somewhat penalised. And you can hear there Jamie backing and off the throttle there because you can see Harry swerving. He's getting a bit too close to him there for a second. But Jamie, he's used up all his ERS, and that's the problem that these guys seem to make all the time. They just don't know how to use the battery properly. They haven't seemed to have figured out a way to manage that ERS battery pack they have, and because by the time they're gonna have to sort of back off and break it a little bit earlier into the corners, and they're gonna lose so much time now trying to recharge that battery pack, just try and stick with one another. And Harry so far has got the upper hand advantage. He's probably got about 15% more than what Jamie has. He has about now 20 more percent Jamie now. So but Jamie's coming back. Harry's using his ERS now to try and defend off Jamie. I'm sure one of those two are going to have a damage. Maybe Harry will have something to say. As Harry runs slightly wide of the track there, he might be starting to get some of those warnings now for track limits. I'm sure of it. But Jamie, he's going to have a brilliant run down into turn one. Sorry, I can't speak. He's going to have a brilliant run down into turn one. He's going to have DRS. He's not going to use that battery. He's going to be super enough and close enough. But Harry just seems to pull away for some reason, though, unless that's the ERS coming in to help. But will Jamie be able to help? Jamie's going to go to the left and keep it on the left-hand side. But no, he's not able to make the pass on Harry, which this battery pack, and that's what I'm telling you, Harry's battery pack saved him on the straight because Jamie was using ERS and DRS at the same time. Ooh. I almost saw Jamie try to go around the outside of Harry here for a second.
It was definitely very, very close, but I will quickly say, whilst this battle is happening, it's slowing both of them down, so George is just getting a massive gap going. Already a 11.7 gap. The fact that he's already got this is just utterly impressive. On the other side of the card, Precious had to pit and is now last with a 26-second gap. He has to build back up to Lance Stroll.
Yeah, and again, Preston will have to make a recovery drive, and if it gets lucky enough and the safety car comes along, he might be able to pit for somewhat of a new set of tyres, like mediums or softs, depending on what remaining laps you've got left of the race. So hopefully a safety car comes in to save Preston's race, or by the nick of time, he might just get these points, but he will have to fight the rest of the AIs off because of tyre wear he will have on those hards. And I'm sure he won't be able to make these hards last the last 21 laps of this race. But if we go back to Harry and Jamie, DRS once again for Jamie. And will it be a better run? He has no battery now as he switches from the right to left again, sending a dummy on Harry. They go wheel to wheel. Harry is pushing him slightly a bit wide there. I feel like he can give a bit more room, and Jamie's entitled to, I believe. But Harry just able to keep him in front by squeezing Jamie out to the left-hand side and pushing him on to the, what would you call that? Just on to that slight runoff area.
The curb? Or, yeah, slight runoff, I guess. Too many names for it.
Yeah, but Jamie just looking so much quicker than Harry, and this is going to kill Jamie's race because he's going to be killing his tyre wear just to make this one move on Harry and just to get past back him for Harry to get past back him on them straight.
Very true. It will definitely hurt Jamie a lot. He'll probably have to pit earlier, and that will pull him away a lot from Harry, and Harry will have clear space to race. You know, and as I said, it's slowing both of them down so they can't catch up to George. George is a sprint in a way, but as soon as Jamie pits, it's basically everyone has no competition around him anymore. That's it.
Yeah. I mean, look at this. I mean, Harry now is just being able to stay in front, but I feel like Harry could have given Jamie a bit more room. Jamie gets a brilliant exit out of that final corner compared to Harry. He gained so much time by the look of it. Again, Jamie trying to use that battery pack that he has none of again. And, this is what's killing Jamie at the moment because, he's got no battery pack to use on the straight to maybe have that extra momentum, carry more speed of about 5+ miles per hour on that straight to maybe give that hand advantage to on Harry, should I say?
Very true, very true. Potentially Harry. Little
Oh,
slip out by Jamie there. Will definitely lose a bit of time. Now up to a 0.7 second gap. And jumping a bit back, whether we got a glitch there or not, who knows? Back to a 0.3 second gap. It's like Jamie's teleporting all over the place. But nonetheless, Jamie, as you say, is down to the absolute bare bones of his energy. That will give him a major disadvantage, as you have already said, against Harry. What he needs to be doing is saving that battery until the straight where he can fully use it. That is what Harry is doing. He's saving up that energy until the point where Jamie has the DRS and can fully attack.
yeah. I mean, look at this. I mean, it's just he's just trying to get past as well, and it's just a bit. I'm sure it's a bit upsetting for him because for Jamie really because he has the quicker tires than Harry at the moment.
Very true, very true. But it doesn't matter if you got the quicker tires or not. It just matters how you use your energy and where you use it, how you spare it, and who's quicker in the corners. It depends on your driver's skill. And I thought Jamie was going round the outside then, but was unfortunate not to.
That's exactly what I thought for a second. I thought Harry went wide and let Jamie through, but apparently not. But I'm wondering what kind of setups these two are using. Normally, with this kind of bendy circuit, you're looking for a bit more higher downforce, to be able to maneuver your way around the corners and giving you that extra grip through the corners, giving you gaining you that time, should I say. But, I wouldn't see any point of running a lower downforce for the straight line speed, just because you've only got one straight to utilize DRS. So I wouldn't say it's worth using a straight line speed setup down on this track.
Very true, very true. As I said to Ritvic last time out, I'm not very good with setups. I'm a guy that goes on TikTok and steals setups, so I'm not the type of guy you should be asking about setups. But whatever you say, I completely agree with you. But this may be Jamie's chance here. He's really close, closer than he usually is. He's on a 0.1 second gap now. That's slightly changed. Potentially Harry going a bit wide there, but Jamie could not take advantage. He's now got the DRS trying to get past Harry, but I don't think it's going to happen. I just think Harry may hold out.
Down the inside. Will he make this turn one move happen? He has made it happen. It's been making this move happen for the last couple laps now, and it's finally done. Now Harry has to try and get back past, or will Harry just let him go because he knows he'll be pitting in just a lap or two's time from now? So maybe Harry has to play a bit more wise, or does he want to use up this tyre wear? If I was him, I would just let him go. It wouldn't even be worth giving him the time of day to fight because I'm only know he's going to pit in a lap or two's time, and at the moment Harry's about almost 17 seconds behind our race leader of George so far. He's led every lap so far and potentially could lead every lap of this race if he can somehow make these mediums last until what the hards can last till. So if George does do that though, I do believe he will go onto a soft compound of tyre and try use the softs to the end.
Very true. Go on.
About battery as well. I mean, just look at George. I mean, he hasn't really had to use any of it because he hasn't had to fight anyone. But look, he's on about 67% battery usage, and still, he could use all of it up if he wanted to. But I wouldn't say there's no point. I mean, you have to sparingly use your ERS, and you have to know when to use it and when not to use it. I mean, there's certain times when, if you've got the pace, you just won't use the ERS like George is using. Like, yeah, you can see him using it every now and again. But if you're dominating the race like this, no point even.
Harry's pit.
Yeah, and that's very interesting. And I can't tell. I wonder what his mediums, and that is a very odd choice in the man in red. This might have just even given Jamie the upper hand advantage as his teammate now pressing comes out just behind Harry. Will he make a move, go around the outside of Harry? Oh no, Preston goes awfully wide off there for a second, has to sit behind, still in last place. But finally, at least Preston has some form of company at the back of the grid to maybe even fight with now. But this might have now given Jamie the upper hand advantage to maybe potentially get this P2.
Very true, and he will be over the moon with that. I'm sure his first race within season 5, of course, we talk about last season. He managed to get for 1-2 with Callum in the McLaren. So getting P2 again, he will be happy with that, especially the fact that, you know, George is up front. I don't think he's going to be able to catch up with George. So I think he will be over the moon with P2, to be honest.
Yeah, and I honestly think, though, when George pits is when Jamie would pit. I mean, if I was certainly in Jamie's shoes right now, I would certainly be like, right, there's no point trying to, you know, overcut George because I know he's only going to overtake me. So when he pits is when I should pit. That's how I'd honestly play it out, because then you've got the same fresh tyres as a leader, and then you know that you're potentially coming out in somewhat good of a spot. But yeah, Jamie still has 18.9 seconds to George to potentially make up. And so unless a safety car comes out, I could potentially see George this win going to George. But I know unless he somehow fumbles the bag and makes a mistake and ends his race, or did somewhat what he did in Australia, then this could potentially be how somewhat the order goes. But what will still be yet to determine is whether Jamie gets that P2 or someone like Harry and Preston get that P2. But Preston is still 4.5 tenths behind Harry, and Harry's now catching up some traffic as well. So if Harry's able to overtake Stroll, and you know, Preston ain't behind close enough to Harry, he could potentially lose some more time to Harry. And as Harry makes the move now down the inside past Lance Stroll, that's put a car between him and Preston. But as Preston now overtakes Lance Stroll, and he has just done, they still go wheel to wheel though. And Lance Stroll sends it back round the inside, but no match for Lance Stroll there. As Preston now has caught back up to Harry. He has 7/10 of a second behind Harry. So Harry's now behind his teammate now. Will team orders be called to maybe let them through? The Ferrari team, no team orders there just yet. So he'll have to pass his teammate on track and ordinary fashion as well. But will Preston be able to follow along and get that P17? And we do not know yet. No, and Harry makes a double move into turn 1. That's a sensational move, and that is great stuff. Now that's put 2 car lengths between him and Preston, but Preston needs to crack on with it now. He needs to, and it looks like he's struggling now. He looks like he's got low fuel mode coming his way as well. Right. Low fuel mode like Preston, and now he might have to be managing his fuel management now.
Very true.
Oh, and that's another front wing end plate lost for Preston once again.
That means he'll have to pit for a second time now. Will we go for his tyre change now? That's the question. Of course, the hards potentially were the plan to make sure the softs survive, but would he go for mediums instead?
I mean...
no!
And Preston has spun, and that is, again, might have just ended Preston's race there. He will definitely pit, but I doubt he will, unless he sticks in it and, you know, pits again and hopes a safety car. That might have just ended Preston's race right there. Wing damage and then spinning out. That is not what he needs. Especially how he started his season off with a podium as well.
Very true, very true. But we all know, we all have unlucky races. Where he goes into pits, definitely very unlucky time for him. I'll be interested to see what tyre he goes for here. But whilst we talk about that, Harry is now up to P10. A brilliant recovery for him. Dashing straight through VARs one by one, taking no prisoners at all. He'll be rising up, looking to get back up, potentially catch up to Jamie if it's even possible. Who knows?
Yeah, I mean, hopefully we can see another really nice fight for P2. But obviously, I mean, you know, what's it called? Jamie's on a 14-lap-year-old mediums, and Harry is on those 3-lap-year-old mediums. So Harry's pace will be rapidly quicker than what Jamie's is. But if for some reason, here we go, Jamie is in the pits now. This is the time the Red Bull need to pull out a brilliant pit stop for Jamie to potentially secure him this P2 here. It could be cutting it close here. What can the Red Bull pit crew do? Hopefully we'll see him. Where's Harry at? I think he's just at the back of that pack. He might get overtaken by Harry here, and it's certainly looking that way at the moment as some other people now start to pit. But by the looks of things, Jamie is nowhere near close to the end of that pit lane, and that's it. Harry's overtaken Jamie in the pit lane, and the undercut has worked on Jamie this time around. But just remember, Jamie will have the quicker pace, and it seemed to be like Jamie had similar pace to what Harry did, unless it was the hards kicking in there. But Jamie has made those mediums last for 15 laps. And George, by the looks of it, I mean, just look, he's got 42 seconds to the next car behind. So he'll probably end up pitting. And if he doesn't pit this lap, and he's, by the looks of things, he might and even try to get this the softs on him to make him last to the end of the race.
Very true, very true. We'll have to see when George pits what his strategy is, because of course, as you say, he hasn't had competition this whole race. His tyres are probably not that worn, even for lap 17. They're probably going to be, he's probably going to pit around lap 20, have 9 laps with those softs. That is very doable. We've seen it done before, but who knows, we'll have to see. I'm also interested on how if Preston's going to be able to recover even a little bit. With 22 laps left to go, it's going to be an interesting one for sure with a 12-second gap, who knows. But now, Jamie is, as you said, P7. He's 1 place behind Harry, 3 seconds behind. I'm sure he can make up that time. Harry will get through the AIs, Jamie as well, and then we'll see that battle happen again.
Yeah, I mean, what's it called? Jamie's 3.4 seconds behind Harry. So I think, if I'm correct, Jamie is on the hards.
I will check for you now. There you go.
Yeah, so on the hards. So yes, he has somewhat of a lap advantage and younger tyres advantage than Harry, but Harry might be burning those mediums out as we speak, unless he's carefully nursing them. But by the looks of things, he doesn't seem to be nursing them at all. He seems to be pushing through the pack, and unless Jamie's able to start making those, in a couple laps' time, to start cutting through the field with those hards, then we might not see a fight until about lap. But I want to say like lap 22. I want to see the next fight between those two will happen.
Yeah, true. And it'll be a good battle for sure, especially after the last one we saw. You know, we saw how Harry held him up for ages. If they're both potentially on, well, obviously not new tyres at that time, but around the same sort of age tyres, it'll be interesting. Of course, the AI is now pitting, which takes Harry back up to P2. Jamie will now go up to P3 now, and there is only the gap of 1.3 seconds. This battle will happen any minute now.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure what's the pit losses in this on the Qatar. It looks similar to what Bahrain is. So it could be around about 23, 22 seconds. And yeah, Preston's retiring. I don't blame him. You know, it doesn't seem to be like anyone's going to be spinning out anytime soon or cause a crash. I mean, look at how wide the runoff areas are for the drivers. I mean, it's just so unlikely for a crash or a safety car to come out. But as you're speaking about the battle between Harry and Jamie, that's come sooner than expected, as Jamie's using up that battery pack, but Harry has to make these tyres last until the very end of the race. So unless Harry's planning to do another stop, which is a 2-stop race, Jamie could potentially easily pass Harry up here. I think the last time Harry pitted was around lap 12 when it was... Oh, and then Jamie's getting awfully close to the back of that Ferrari there for a second, almost losing it and almost costing him a podium slot here. But... Jamie's looking fairly quick on these hards.
Very true, very true. And what didn't Jamie have hards on before? So,
No, but that was Harry.
oh yes, of course. Sorry, that's my mistake. So he has changed what tires he's
Oh,
had.
quick move as he plans to go down the inside of that Ferrari, and he makes that move happen. And Jamie seemed so much quicker than the Ferrari overall on those hards. Maybe hards is the way to go, and looking like a genuinely better race pace tyre than the mediums.
Very true. Whether Harry will be able to bounce back with those mediums or not is going to be a question. Of course, we know that Jamie has no energy left. Harry does. He has basically 30% of it, so he will have the advantage going in to the main straight. But of course, we have a bit to go until then. Potentially Jamie could pull that gap with the fresher tyres. It looks like he is right now.
Yeah, a second pulled already. And I'm telling you, I mean, Jamie's using the battery pack when it's even on 0%. So maybe he's just unaware that he's trying to, but he needs to now not use the battery pack. This is the time to charge it up. This is the time to, use the raw pace of the. And George is on the. Oh, yeah, George pitted, didn't he? I'm sure he did. Yeah, he did. And he's pitted on the soft compound. And I think I saw it was, I can't remember what the fastest lap was. I think it was like a 23. I want to say it's in the 23s, maybe young 24s. Yeah, so I can't see what that is.
123.649.
So 23.6 is the fastest lap of the race, and that's what they've got to beat, or maybe somewhat lap close to get to George. But I doubt that's going to happen anytime soon. That DRS is helping out Harry, and Harry's went awfully off wide there for a bit. And Harry having a slide there. It didn't look like Jamie pissed him off because he looked like he had so much room there. So Harry making a driver error right there. But 1.3 seconds now to Jamie. And he's got to pick up the pace. Harry looked like looked like he was the better man when he was on the hards. Maybe he's made the wrong strategy call here. Maybe he underestimated what the hards lapping at would be. So I'm thinking that the hards are the best race tire to be on at this current moment in time.
Yeah, very true. And of course, when I don't know how old those hards are now, actually, to be honest, they're 4 laps old hards. So when they come into fruition, fully, he's gonna have like the pace that Harry doesn't, especially when most mediums become absolutely worn.
Yeah, I mean, you have to remember Harry was at the back of the grid when he pitted, and he pitted around lap 12, and that was about 4 laps. Should I say, yeah, that was like 4 laps before anyone else started to make their pit stop. So Harry making a very bad strategy call there, and potentially making him lose this P2 fight here, unless Jamie makes some driver error. Hopefully, I haven't given him the commentator's cursor, touch wood, for this man. Hopefully he can finish and have a good result so far this season. But yeah, if Harry had pit maybe when everyone else did, I guarantee you he would be maybe lapping around the same, maybe having a bit more contention with Jamie. But because he pit that earlier, he's cost himself. Harry's crashed!
No.
Harry's crashed! And it's a safety car, and that's a full force safety car. And I bet Preston had wished he had stayed in now for this final race. George is on the soft compound tyres, and he's in the pits already, so he's making another pit stop. But Jamie will make a pit stop, and I bet it will to be for the softs. If Jamie does not pit, it will be silly. This is the time now. Jamie either steps up now to potentially take a win, and Harry's gonna have to change his front wing and change tyres as well. So maybe this might have brought somewhat of a thrilling end to the race. George's 37.6 gap lead has been brought to an end, and this is just shaking things up for the end of the race with 8 laps to go.
Very true, very true. This is going to absolutely shake everything up. As you say, of course, George has missed the pits. He's almost... Harry with a 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane.
Yeah, and that's a bit of a rookie error there from Harry. He'll be annoyed with that as well, and especially when it's a safety car period. That's the last thing you need when you got a penalty waiting on your shoulders at the end of the race, especially with just 7 laps to go now. That's 7 laps to go now. So Jamie now, I'm pretty sure he has gone onto the compound tire. If I'm not, yeah. So yeah, this is smart choice there from Jamie. Both George and Harry, if I can find him, yep, on the soft compound as well, but has a penalty waiting for him at the end of this race. So this could take him down the order. So it'll be very interesting to see. But this could be another chance. This could be a chance for Jamie to get his first win since Hungary season 3.
Very true. This could be an interesting time, but of course George, as we spotted there, is on new softs. Actually, he did pit. I guess I didn't notice, but he is on new softs. So it's gonna be a challenge for Jamie. Jamie could do it, but it's gonna be a challenge for him.
It's very doable now. The safety car's been brought out, but Jamie has to have the pace now. He has to channel his inner self now, and he has to go out there and push like hell now. If you want to compete with George, you have to be better, and you have to be willing to do almost anything to basically get in front of him. As it's hard. I've raced against George, and he's not a tough cookie to crack. You know, we saw me and him fighting in Hungary, where I got my first win. But yeah, this can be very interesting how this race ends, especially with probably about 6 to 5 laps left of racing. And I'm telling you right now, I bet Preston will be dying now that he just didn't hang out for that safety car. And that'll be something that he'll have regretted now. But Harry, P9 so far, and he'll have about 6 to 5 laps, like I said, of racing to maybe clear a 5-second time penalty. And has he even changed his front wing? I can't tell.
Yes.
It looks like he's lost a front end plate, maybe under safety car or something like that. Yep, and it definitely looks like he's lost a...
Yes, he has.
That's wing damage, and he's just only repitted to replace his whole front wing. So somewhere along the way, Harry has made another mistake, and that will give him a little bit of, well, demotivation, should I say. That he won't be happy, and he'll be a bit annoyed. And if he lets himself get annoyed too much, it could cost him the whole race. But he still needs to think the long run and still finish this race with points and potentially a podium or even a top 5. This is the man that needs to target constant points and probably constant podiums each race to maybe have somewhat of a chance at the championship.
Very true, very true. It's gonna be interesting, but I don't think I've seen anything about a safety car going in anytime soon, unfortunately. But hopefully it will do very soon, and we will see this battle between Jamie and George. We've seen for Jamie. Oh, here we go.
Yeah, safety car is in this lap, and it'll be green lap racing soon. So George will take control of this whole pack. Will he just wait until the final dying moments before he can cross the line to trick Jamie into getting a better start than Jamie? George is slowing down. I mean, George will play mind games with you. I mean, I can't remember who it was who was under safety car. I think it was Charlie when we did that bonus race. And here we go. Look, George is already bolting away, waiting to that final moment, waiting for that unexpected. Slow it down. He's not allowed to overtake until you cross the line. And here we go. You're able to start now overtaking Jamie, able to recharge that battery pack. And he has to utilize it in ways where you have to savor it in certain parts. But George going slightly wide there. George will have to either turn up the pace or defend like crazy, depending on what pace Jamie can do, what he can lap at to match George maybe. He's kept it at just 6/10 under a second so far. So Jamie doing somewhat good, but he's using that battery pack, and he's using up every moment he gets, and you shouldn't really, because you know this is what's going to cost him in the long run when he does get close to George, or if he does get close to George.
And there you have it. George has 67% energy left. Jamie already down to 10%. Once
Yeah,
that battery is gone for Jamie, that is it.
yeah. I mean, and just remember at the start, when at the start of the restart, Jamie had about 67% battery charge, or somewhere in the mid 60s, and you can see him, but he just uses it up with no remorse. He doesn't see that it will affect him then, but he might think, oh yeah, this will be a great plan to use all my battery up now. But look, 0% battery, and now you're paying the price for it because you've used it all up in one go. George still has about 50% charge of the battery pack, and he's just going to run away with it now.
Very true, and he was even going side to side there. Showing that he can get away even when, doing not even fully focusing, but now he's just pulling that gap completely. In other notes, however, Harry now up to P7, potentially going to overtake Norris for P6. Can he get ahead of all the AIs and pull that 5-second gap? That's going to be an interesting one.
Yeah, it'd be very interesting. We've got 4 laps of racing left to go, and he still has to clear quite a few cars before he gets in front of those Mercedes. He has about 2 cars in front of him before he can start to overtake the Mercedes and get that P3. But he needs to get the move on now. He's using those soft compounds, but I'm guaranteeing you, with that end wing plate damage lost, and that's going to make him lose time as Norris gives him a bit of a knockoff, and yeah, and you can see Harry giving that a bit of aggression back. He's gone off wide again. That might have been track limits exceeded that time, and a warning for him. But you can see up ahead that one of the Mercedes of George Russell is pulling off to the side. This is giving Harry another chance and giving another opportunity to gain a place. And, going on that curb will make him force the car off left slightly there. As you saw, him trying to correct it because he was over that curb just a bit too much. And you don't want to get on these curves because in this game, if you go on those curbs too much, you will actually indeed be forced to go slightly straight off and have to sort of go parallel with that runoff curb, should I say. We've got Harry now sending a move, making it go right, then to the left, sending the dummy on Guan Yu Show up into P4. Is it done just yet? That downforce loss will cost Harry a bit of time though, but it is done. And now Lewis Hamilton is the next man ahead, and Harry still has about 3 laps to go to really get that to get rid of that 5-second time penalty he has weighing on his shoulders, waiting for him at the end of the race.
Very true. Will the front wing damage that he's got make it impossible for him to catch up to Lewis Hamilton? It's not looking like it right now, but will it make it impossible to get a 5-second gap ahead of Lewis Hamilton? That's a whole different question. If Harry doesn't pull that gap, he's losing some places again.
Yeah, I mean, if he can pass him now, now's the time, because as soon as he crosses that line, he will have about a couple laps worth of racing to really get rid of that lap. And you can see he's having to correct the car when he goes into those curves, and he's gonna have to approach the corners differently as he's running right each time. That's the downforce loss he's receiving there, and that's the cost he's making to pay the price there. I'm sure we'll find out what happened there, but he has DRS on Lewis Hamilton, riding down into turns 1, not even using all he thought about there for a second, and then still decided to go down on the right hand side. That is P3 now for Harry. Now it's the drive of a lifetime for this man. He needs to drive like he has everything on the line. He needs to push like hell now, because Hamilton's going to be having that slipstream of him, and obviously with Harry's downforce loss, he's not going to be the quickest car on the track.
Definitely not, and you can see the slipstream coming in to effect for Lewis Hamilton right now. Hamilton is staying with Harry. He is not letting him go. Harry really wants to escape him, but it's just not happening.
Yeah, it's just not possible, and especially through this bendy part of the track. Maximum downforce is required. You need to not have 0 damage or very minimal damage to still make use of this bendy, because if you have a very high downforce setup, you're going to be set up for purely this track, because just look at sector 2 purely on its own. Look how many turns and bends there are. There is no straights, there is no rest. You're always turning at every given moment of opportunity that you see, and then you only get a short break until you run down into the final corner as a short straight. and then you're back into it. Obviously, you have the main straight, and then you're straight back into it after turn 1.
Very true, very true. But now Harry's trying to pull this gap. He's nearly got Lewis out of that 1 second gap. But he has to do a lot more if he wants this 5 second gap penalty to not affect him at all. And I just don't think it's possible for him today in these last 2 laps.
Yeah, I definitely do agree that. I just don't think it's possible for him. Like, look at that. He may have been able to defend Lewis off on the straights, but look, he had the 9/10 gap, and now he's lost 5/10 to Lewis Hamilton, and that is the downforce of that Mercedes coming through. I mean, just look, that's how much this is costing him. It's costing him about like half a second through this middle sector, potentially even more than half a second. But look at him, he has to go like more or less slower than usual to go through those corners. Normally you can approach these corners at about high speed, around 100 miles, maybe a bit less than just under 100 miles per hour through these certain corners. But I mean, just look how he's having to lift off through certain corners, like that one he just took there, that right-hander. These 2 right-handers he's just gone past, those are all flat out. You can keep your foot on the throttle, and look, he just keeps on running wide because the downforce he has, it's just not good. It's just not good enough. But we now set on the final lap. Jamie sat in P2. Harry is P3, potentially losing it down to about P5 if he can't sort this out, though. But Jamie is going to comfortably, if he makes no mistakes, get this P2. And again, with George, if he makes no mistakes, it'll be a comfortable P1 for him once again. But Harry, this is the man we're all looking at right now. Can he keep this P3, this last podium position, or will it be given to Lewis Hamilton this season to start Mercedes season off with a podium as well? Would be a good result and good points for the Mercedes team. But Harry just seems to be, again, losing so much time through the middle sector. It is costing him so much, and this is what's going to make him lose P3 within this race. But we'll come back to Harry in just a moment's time. As in, we see George now in 2023, season 5 of this Qatar Grand Prix. We saw him take the win down under, and we're going to see him take the win in Qatar for the first time ever in the ROR. It's George and Williams. Oh.
Oh, don't do this,
Who
George.
win the Qatar Grand Prix, and it's a second win in a row for this man. 3 wins in a row over the past 2 seasons. He got pole, he takes the win, and he took pole and took the win again here today. It's maximum points for Williams once again.
Very true. And how will Harry be affected here? It's going to be shown right here. Will it be a P5? Will it be a P6? Where does he go to? I think that's a P5 for Harry.
I think P5, like I potentially said. Yeah, P5 for Harry, and it's an unfortunate race for him. No, if that wasn't a penalty, if he didn't speed in the pit lane, it would have been a P3 slot for him. But Jamie just, getting up P2 and, doing good for Red Bull.
And here we are for the second time within the season. In round 2, we have George in first place. You have Jamie on his left, and then you have Lewis Hamilton on his right. A great victory for George today, extending it even more with another 27 points. That's just amazing. Who can catch him up? We'll have to see who turns up next race. Who knows? Neo might be a threat next race. We just don't know. We will see what happens, but the leaderboard is coming your way, guys. And here is your very quick leaderboard rundown. Of course, you have George in P1, Jamie in P2, and then Harry all the way down in P5 due to the 5-second penalty. And unfortunately, Preston did retire this time out. However, that is all for today. We do appreciate you showing up. We do appreciate you coming to watch this, and we'll be back next weekend in good old, if I can get it up, I'm totally not prepared for this, in good old Japan. We will see you next time, people. ROR, over and out. Goodbye, guys.